ああ、ならボイラー室のはしごはどうですか？以前雨どいの上に鳥が巣を作った時、それを使った覚えが。ええ、あれなら届きますとも間違いありません。
He must have been extremely happy about thinking of something Kanon hadn't. Wait a minute. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Now I'm reminded of Kinzo's corpse in the earlier games. Goda mentioned the boiler room, which reminded me of Kinzo in the first game. Oof. Now it just dawned on me. In this game, it has been shown in scenes with Natsuki that Kinzo died before the game, which follows the red truth of Kinzo being dead from the start of each game quite well. However, in this game, it has been shown that he died years ago, and yet we find Kinzo's dead corpse in the boiler room in episode 1. In order for both of these scenarios to fit, like, it would have been better if Kinzo died maybe October 3rd, maybe October 4th, if we are to stretch it. And Natsuki and Kraus and the servants decided to hide his death, like in the way it is shown in this game. However, if Kinzo died years ago, there's no way that his corpse would survive that long for it to be burned in the boiler room. But you know what? Fine. I'm just gonna think of it this way. This is Lambda's game. Maybe in this game, Lambda decided to show the events in a way that made Kinzo die years ago. The fact that he died years ago is not a constant. In Beatrice's first game, it is shown that Kinzo died close to October 4th, in order for his corpse to be still intact, to burn in the boiler room. Like, whatever the case is for both of these, the result should still be the same, that Kinzo is dead from the start of the games. However, in which case I have to question the legitimacy of the events we have seen with Natsuki during the preparation phase of Lambdas. Like, if I'm to give some sort of half-baked solution to that, I guess I can go with the idea that what happens in the preparation phase of this game is still to be considered non-questionable, but only this game. What we have seen in the beginning phase of this game does not quite happen in the other games too. Like, it all results in the same thing, but Lambda decided to create her own events that lead to the same conclusion, I guess. That, or we can talk about the idea that Kinzo's corpse in the first game was a fake one? In which case, that would actually solve all of my problems here, but remember, Lambda mentioned at the end of 4th game that Bato did say that all the identities of the identified corpses have been guaranteed, which means no fake corpses. So it's weird. Looking pleased with himself as though he had won something, he glanced around at everyone. He was probably hoping that Natsuki would praise him, but she quickly avoided his gaze. Of course, Kanon had known about that letter too. However, in order to protect Kinzo's secret, he had intentionally pretended to have forgotten.
この天気ですし、風も強いです。いくらなんでも危険では。
同感だ。
大怪我をしても明日までは病院にも行けないのですぞ。
中庭なら風の影響が少ないかもしれないわ。とりあえず様子を見てみる価値はあると思うけど。
いやー、しかし3階までとなるとなかなかにこれが大変。鳥の巣の片付けの時もほとんどの使用人たちが尻込みしてしまい、それをこの不肖ゴーダが大役を買って出て見事に果たしたのです。
Yeah, you know, I can totally see Natsuhi is regretting that she never told Goda about their secret. Like every servant in Nanjo knows about Kinzo's status, except Goda. I bet that Natsuhi is regretting that decision.
よし、何の問題もないで。何しろ届くはしごに。
実績のある人間もいるんだし。
はい。
Because the courtyard was surrounded on all four sides, while the rain was fierce, the winds had almost no effect. Fortunately, the roof jutted out a bit, so even the rain wasn't so bad.
よし、はしごを立てかけてみるか。気をつけろよ。怪我すんなよ。
おう。
Rudolph and Beller carried a special bladder, which was designed for work on high places. 2 umbrellas followed the pair. Shannon and Kana were holding umbrellas and sheltering Rudolph and Beller from the rain. Oh, Shannon. Kanon. What is going through your heads right now? So far, I have made no progress in my previous ideas in regards to these two. This game... this game instead has been a Natsuhi and Erika show, and chances are that is how it's going to be for the rest of this game. Maybe if I'm to stretch it a little, I can see Kraus as the culprit of this particular game, but that is because maybe Shannon and Kanon made Kraus do this instead of doing it themselves, since they are here, like, stuck with us. The only problem with that would be Jessica, though. Like, that would be the one problem that we are facing right now, because no way in hell can I see Kraus kill his own daughter as well. Like, I see no motive for such a thing. So, the only way I see Kraus being involved in all this is him doing magic circles and maybe killing Genji. Like, other than that, I look at both of these kids and I ask myself, how are you doing this? How are you doing this? Unless, by the end of it all, maybe it's not Shannon or Kanon. Which, a part of me is gonna be glad to hear that it's not Shannon or Kanon. But, truth be told, I am running out of options at this point. Like, if it's not Shannon or Kanon, then who else could it be? I don't see the adults doing it. I don't see the other servants being Beatrice. Jessica, Beller, and Eva, they cannot be the culprits because of the red truth, or because of the red web of episode 3. Rosa couldn't be Beatrice. It couldn't be that Rosa is the culprit because it doesn't really make sense. They are such polar opposites when it comes to the themes of this game. Yeah, I'm running out of options here. And it's not like the game is offering me evidence to support my ideas. Or maybe it's offering me like hints and evidence. It's just that they're so obscure I have to look at it with a monocle, the way I did till now. So yeah, I'm gonna take a wild guess and say that figuring out the culprit and, like, you know, finding pieces of evidence towards the culprit is probably not gonna be the focus of this particular game. Maybe later in episode 6, 7, and 8 and such, but not here. Because the main focus of this is definitely gonna be Natsuhi and Erika, that's for sure.
俺たちは濡れても平気だぜ。
And I'm having doubts that Natsuhi is the culprit. That Natsuhi is Beatrice or something.
ひさしの下に戻ってな。ゴーダさん、膝の調子は悪くてもはしごクレイは抑えられるだろ。
はいはいはい。ヒアルロン酸さえ十分ならはしごもスルスルなのですが、いや本当に申し訳ない。
Goda rushed up to replace Shannon and Kanon. Kirei giggled as she watched him.
親父、金槌。
おう、マトラ。お前、アスレチックは好きか？
アスレチックより日曜大工頑張るかっこいい親父が好きだぜ。
こいつやれやれ。たまには息子の前でいいとこ見せてみるか。マトラ、ゴーダさん、はしごしっかり押さえててくれよ。あとちゃんと上を見てろよ。俺が手を滑らせてこの金槌を落っことしちまうかもしれねえからな。
Oh, Rudolph. You remember in the fourth game when I roughly gave like each adult like a score when they were confronting Kenzo and in the diner room and such. I gave each of them a score, like how they viewed their children to be the next successor and such. And Rudolph gave like an interesting answer. One could say that at the very least it was honest. Like in my case at that point I was like, like I didn't truly know what to think of it, like how Rudolph viewed Balor in that sense. But an interesting part happened like much later, during the time when Balor was being asked by Beatrice about his sin and such. And you know how Balor talked about his past and how he left the family and such. And Rudolph tried his damnedest to bring his son back to the family and such. And at that point I was like, okay, you know what? I think I can give Rudolph a pass on that one. I mean, if he went to such high... If Rudolph went to such highs to the point where he would beg Balor to come back to the family, it does show that he truly cares. Like, I wasn't 100% convinced by his answer when it comes to confronting Kenzo about Balor being the next successor, but I guess in the way Balor described his past with Rudolph and how Rudolph basically went on his knees to beg Balor to come back to her family, that shows that Rudolph does have a level of care about his son. Even though most of the time he's gonna act all macho and such, and stuff like that, he prefers not to do that sort of stuff because he wants to, I don't know, I guess protect his image and stuff and such like that. Of course, given the way I am and thinking of multiple possibilities and such, if I'm to think of a much darker version of what I'm thinking there, maybe there very well could be another reason that Rudolph begged Battler to come back to the family just so that he will have Battler come to this particular family conference, because Rudolph was threatened by the culprit to do that. Like, if Battler doesn't come to this particular family conference, then something bad would happen to the family and such. The reason why Battler just had to go all out and try to get Battler to come back to the family and such. That Rudolph was threatened to bring Battler to the family conference because of the culprit. Otherwise, something bad would happen. Because, well, we do know that Battler is important to the culprit. Because he is definitely important to Beatrice because of Battler's sin. So there is also that aspect and such, in which case, like, I was about to say something here, but like, I was about to say that there's a contradiction here between what I thought of before and this possibility, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna contradict. Because, well, there's my good old move that I like doing sometimes, that, hey, there could be like two contradicting truths, but, I mean, both can be true at the same time. Who says that two things cannot be true at the same time? So, yeah. It can very well be possible that both possibilities are true.
安心しろよ。キャッチして親父の頭をかち割ってやるぜ。
Rudolph put a hammer meant for breaking the window into his pocket. And then, after cracking his knuckles, he started climbing the ladder.
ルドルフ様、大丈夫でしょうか。
大丈夫よ。あの人アクション映画向きだし、それにスポーツだって得意なんだから。
Maybe Santa Claus is involved in murder.
得意のスケートがはしご登りにどう役立つか聞かせてほしいぜ。俺はイナバウアー、常に大ピンチとくら。
なんだかんだ死なないから大丈夫よ。それより鎧戸が降りてなくて幸運だったわ。
He never dies. Ina Bauer never dies. Ina Bauer was a champion German figure skater whose name is associated with a move in figure skating that became famous in Japan. However, the reference goes deeper than this. Murodo's voice actor Koyama Irikiya was the Japanese dub voice for Jack Bauer in the TV series 94. Well, look at that. Oh, the connections. He Never Dies is a reference to one of a number of comedic Japanese TV commercials for 24, in which Koyama Rikiya sings, I am Jack Bauer, always in danger. I am Jack Bauer, I never die. Okay, well, that's cute. That is cute.
お父様の書斎では夜鎧戸を下ろす習慣はないの？
いえ、お部屋に入ることが許されている時には朝と夜に開け閉めをいたします。
ただここしばらくは不要とのことでしたので開けっぱなしになっていたと思います。
なるほど。お父様はお怒りになるわよね。お休み中に息子が窓を割って入ってきたら。
それはおそらく
窓を割らずに済むといいわね。
Both Shannon and Kanon knew that Kinzo no longer existed in this world. Natsuki had ordered them to interfere as much as possible. But now that it had come to this, there was nothing that the two of them could do. They had tried to interfere by pretending that they didn't know about a ladder that could reach up to the third floor window. But because of Goda showing off, that letter had been found. Rudolph carefully climbed the ladder. He would reach the third floor without a window very soon. As he did this, Shannon and Kana stared at him, looking uneasy. What would happen after this? To the two of them. To Madame. To the master. Very soon, Rudolph would reach the window.
この部屋の結界ももはやこれまでか。
城壁を乗り越えようと兵がよじ登ってくるぞ。まさに落城は目前というところよ。私にいつでも消え去る覚悟はできておるぞ。
そうはいかぬ。泥をすすってでも生き延びてもらわねばならぬでな。後のことは考える。今はここを逃れよ。
とはいえどうしたものか。廊下には未だエヴァたちが陣取り、窓にはルドルフが迫っている。扉にも窓にも退路はないぞ。
Like I was thinking of the idea that, hey, since everyone is outside, they could just leave the door open, and that way when Kinzo and the rest would come in through the window, that would mean that they would see that the door is open and they would think, oh, Kinzo just escaped through the door. But since there are some people left at the entrance of the study, that is definitely not possible.
ならばベッドの下に隠れ潜むもありかと。
私には玉座にて待ち受けることさえ許されぬか。
そなたの人生ならばそれも潔し。しかし今のそなたはわらわと夏日に生かされる亡霊よ。亡霊は亡霊らしく、ベッドの下かクローゼットに潜むと相場が決まっておるわ。
その程度のことで奴らの目を欺けるのか。やれやれ。
大丈夫、私がついてるわ。最後の瞬間には私があんたを脱出させる。
危険だぞ。悪魔とて半魔法の毒素に焼かれればただでは済むまい。
大丈夫よ。それに私そのくらいヤバくないとドキドキしないのよ。
頼もしいでわかった。私はベッドの下に隠れよ
う。お嬢様、ルドルフがもうじき窓
に。が気が変わった。わらわがここを守る。そなたはロノウェと身を隠す。
なんですって。話が違います。ここはガープに任せ、お嬢様は避難されることになっていたはずです。
Even though Ronoe should have been used to her fickleness, this surprised him for the first time in a long while. Though Beata was the powerful queen, she was also an important piece that should not be exposed to danger. Though she was strong, running to the front lines without any plan would not be a praiseworthy move.
何の気まぐれ？ただの気まぐれだ。そなたに任せて紅茶をすすってられるほどわらわは退屈を愛してはおらぬのでな。早速暴れてみたくなっただけだ。わかったわ。あなたのゲームだもの。 あなたの好きにするといいわ。私は決した第一の番の死体が暴かれることがないようしっかり見張っていることにする。すまぬな、そなたの見せ場を奪って。
よろしいのですか、お嬢様。
わらわは目立つのが三度の飯より好きであることはそなたも知っておろうが、ガープの出番も食ってしまっただけだ。気にするでない。
Ranoe and Gap were both silent. The two of them had already noticed. Lady Ben Castillo, who used Furudo Erika as a piece, was a terrifying opponent. This fight would probably be terrifying as well. Batokun exposed Gap, her friend, to this danger. Aww. Bato bluffed and said that this wasn't the case. But Ranoe and Gap had already figured it out. Therefore, after confirming Bato's resolve one last time and seeing that she was completely firm in her decision, they nodded in silence and accepted it.
わかったわ。この場はあなたに任す。応援してるわ。気をつけて。うん。わらわの活躍を存分に見守るがよかろう。
おそらくベルンカステル卿は金蔵の不在を密室議論からカンパしてくるでしょう。密室での戦いは本来ガープの方が得意とします。クイーンは広い場所で戦ってこその支配者です。楽な戦いにはなりませんぞ。
百も承知。わらわは今夏日に仕えておるのだ。その夏日の危機をガープに任せて高みの見物ではわらわの筋も通らぬわ。
かしこまりました、ご武運。
気をつけて。完全に密室にされたら私たちも助けに入れないのよ。ちょいと鼻であしらい、やばくなったら金蔵をひっつかんで逃げ出すだけだ。簡単なものよ。扉に窓に過去に未来にいくらでも逃げ出す場所はあるわ。密室になどさせるものか。姿はなくともすぐ近くで応援してるわ。頑張って。うん。
Gap and Ranoe became a swarm of gold butterflies and disappeared. And Kinzo melted into the darkness beneath the bed. Then, Beato also became a swarm of gold butterflies and melted away inside the study. After that, all figures and signs of life had disappeared from the study, and once more regained the sound as though no one had been there from the beginning. Then, Rudo's outline slipped into the view from beyond the window's curtain.
親父、いるなら返事をしてくれ。親父!
As he yelled, he hit the window. His foothold was so uncertain that just hitting the window felt like life-threatening. Of course, this was Rudolph, the show-off. He decided that he couldn't show himself up with so many people watching from below. He suppressed the fear from being so high up. And boldly knocked on the window.
じいさまめ、聞こえてねえのか。
どうでしょう。金槌を落とさないでくれると嬉しいのですが。
何秒経った？
窓を叩いてから今30秒経ちました。
やっぱり割るのですか？その親方様が大層お怒りに。
その怒りを受けるのは自分の役目と豪語してくださる方がいるから大丈夫よ。ルドルフさん、十分よ、やって。
おう、親父め、割った後で文句言うんじゃねえぜ。
He hit it several times. Eventually, a fist-sized hole opened in the glass. Because of his unstable footing, this took a lot of effort. Using the end of the hammer skillfully, he brushed aside the no fractured bits of glass and opened the hole further. Stuck his hand through it and unlocked the window. Then, after a hard struggle, he somehow managed to open the window, and his body slipped through into the study. After that, he flopped onto the floor, using his dire body to enjoy the relief of having a ground under him. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that Kinzo's study was a small villa he had created inside a mansion. A study. A book archive. A place to sleep. And a bathroom and a washroom. It was divided into multiple rooms. Indeed, with all this at your fingertips, it wouldn't be hard to spend your days in the study without ever leaving at all. The bed was empty. There were marks on it which made it seem as though someone had stepped out. But there was no one in sight. Udo tried placing his hand on the bed, but he couldn't feel any heat at all. Not only was there no heat, it felt completely ice cold. And the bed wasn't the only thing that was ice cold. The air inside the room, and even the presence about it, if that's the right word for it, even that felt ice cold. To Rudolph, it felt as though Kinzo had slipped out of this room a long time ago. Her ran comes to the bed, and the slight angle of the chair. Here and there were many marks that would doubtlessly have been cleaned or fixed up if someone had come in to make the beds. That placed it in the same general time period as the brutal sense of series of murders. It didn't seem possible to say that Kinzo's absence was completely unrelated to the crime. Having reached a dead end for now, Rudolph leaned out of the window and told Kiria that the others in the courtyard to come back up, since he was going to unlock the door. Then, he pushed the button on the study desk and released the door's auto-lock. There was a heavy clunking sound, and Natsuki and the rest dashed in immediately.
じゃあ抜け出してどこに行ったっちゅうや。お父さんひょっとして事件に巻き込まれた可能性も高いんとちゃうんか。
ほらね、お父様の安否を確かめるべきだったでしょ。この部屋にいないとは限らないわ。ひょっとすると犯人に縛られてクローゼットの中に閉じ込められているということもあるかもしれない
ですね。探しましょう。
当主様の大切な書斎ですよ。みだりに物に触れないように。
ああ、そうだ。犯人さんに申し上げておきます。
Oh boy, an announcement. Maybe a.k.a. has a surprise for you, Natsuki. When Natsuki heard this said from right in front of her, her heart froze. But a.k.a. had only just happened to be standing right in front of Natsuki when she said it. She directed her words to the room at large. She hadn't been speaking to Natsuki in particular. Natsuki turned her back on Erika, trying to make it so that her faltering expression wasn't noticed.
私、記憶力は写真並みですので、何かの証拠を隠蔽しようとして現場を改ざんすればすぐにわかります。こんなところでボロを出して私を失望させないでください。フーダニットが犯人のボロや出現で特定できるミステリーなんて三流だと思いません？
何を言っているのか分かりかねますが、不謹慎な発言は慎むように。お父様、いらっしゃいませんか？お返事をしてください。
Natsuki started walking around and calling out in a loud voice, refusing to let Erika say anymore. There was a knock. Kitty and the others who had gone down to the courtyard had returned.
やっぱりお父様はいない？
どっかに踏んじばられて閉じ込められてるかもな。それを探すところだ。
よくこんなところにいつまでも閉じこもっていられるもんだぜ。
諦めよう、姉さん。もうなるようにしかならない。
奥様はどうなさるつもりかしら。
自分でついてきた嘘のつけさ。
運命は神様に委ねましょう。
はい。
Many people traipsed around Kinso's vast study, looking here and there, inside the closet and in the bathtub, even in the refrigerator and under the study desk. They looked everywhere, almost as though they were it in a game of hide and seek. However, not only were they unable to spot Kinso, they couldn't even find a single suspicious mark.
当主様がお留守であることは明白でしょうに。もう十分です。これ以上当主様の大切な書斎を荒らさないように。
そうですよ、そうですよ。親方様は勝手に物を動かされるのを何より嫌いますからね。
お父様の姿はどこにもないわ。やっぱり事件に巻き込まれたのかしら。
そうと決めつけるわけにもいきませんが。
Natsuki averted her gaze once more.
大丈夫だ、夏日。
まさに背水の陣というところですね。万一書斎に踏み込まれた時にはどこかへ散歩にでも行っているのだろうとごまかすつもりでいました。しかし、
殺人が起こり大勢が殺された屋敷内をのんびり真夜中の散歩としゃれ込んでいた。では誰も納得はするまいな。私ならばむしろ本当にやりかねんが。
こらこら金蔵、おとなしくベッドの下に隠れておれ。大丈夫だ、夏日。 落ち着くがよい。いるものをいるとは断じれようが、いないものをいないとは断じれぬ。
The devil's proof.
すなわち人間の世界はいようといまいといることのできる世界なのだ。そのいることのできる影こそが我ら魔女の悪魔の世界。
悪魔の証明ですね。
うん。だから安心するがよい。悪魔の力がそなたを絶対に守るぞ。
お父様と夫の名誉が守れるなら、私はこの身を悪魔に捧げようとも構いません。
良い覚悟だ。案ずるな。絶対に金蔵は殺させぬ。
At that moment, a dry sound suddenly rang out twice. Erika had clapped her hands, seeking everyone's attention. Though such an action should have been above a guest's place, for some reason, it already felt like a natural right of hers. After all, she was the detective.
これでもう十分と思います。この書斎に後ろ宮金蔵さんの姿はありません。
ああ、隠れられる場所は全て探したぜ。親父の姿はない。
そして不審なものも何も見つけられなかったわ。
ええ、何も見つけられませんでした。
Erika said it again. They hadn't been able to discover anything.
ならこの部屋にいつまでも長居するべきではありません。これほどの大勢で書斎を物色したなど、当主様が知られたらどれほどお怒りになられることか。エヴァさん、あなたは責任を取られる覚悟があるとおっしゃいましたね。生涯絶縁されるくらいの覚悟は終わりなのでしょうね。
それを決めていいのはお父様ご自身だわ。あんたが決めることじゃないわよ。
お静かに。状況を整理したいと思います。昨夜の23時に最後にこの部屋で金蔵さんにお会いになられたのは夏日さんですね。それをどなたか証明できますか？
証明？
Right. I mean, unless someone else affirms what Natsuki is saying, she basically has no alibi in that regard.
ええ、そうです。だって夏日さんが本当に昨夜の23時にここを訪れたかどうかは夏日さんしか自称していません。金蔵さんが昨夜確かに夏日さんがやってきたと証明してくれればいいのですが、その肝心の金蔵さんがおられませんので。
アリバイはミステリーの基本ってわけ。
ええ、そうです。アリバイは大事です。どうせ推理の役にはほとんど立たないのですが、その辺の重箱をつつかないといけないとお作法で決まってますので。
昨夜の殺人のアリバイ探しなんてやってもないくせに、じい様の失踪についてだけはアリバイ探しをするのかよ。本当に気まぐれなやつだぜ。
あ、ご安心を。もちろん第1の晩の殺人についても後ほどみっちりとアリバイについて全員に確認させていただきますので、こうご期待を。それでどなたか夏日さんが23時にここを訪れたことを証明はできませんか？できなければ夏日さんが最終目撃者であることから疑わなければなりませんが。
私が信用できないというのですか？
いえいえ、むしろ逆です。あなたには犯人であってほしくないんです。だってすっごくつまらないじゃないですか。
That is your reasoning? Okay. I mean, was I expecting any sympathy or goodwill coming from you? Nah. It's because you think it would be boring that way, if Natsuki were to turn out to be the culprit.
一番怪しい人物が本当に犯人だったなんて、三流ミステリーの極みです。
夏日さんが怪しい。待ってくれ。どうしてそういう論法になるんだね。
そうですとも。奥様が怪しいなど出現にも程があります。
静かに。南條先生、ゴーダ、ありがとう。エリカさん、それだけの無礼な発言をなさるに足る根拠はおありなんでしょうね。
すっごいシンプルで嫌なんですけどね。テレビドラマレベルの根拠で恐縮ですが、それでもよければ。
聞かせてもらおうじゃねえか。
When Balor glared at her, a cold expression rose to Erika's face for an instant. But it was only for an instant. After smiling peacefully and gazing around at A1, she started to talk. She looked just like the main character in the play, who had come out onto center stage bathed in the spotlight.
今朝の話です。殺人が起こって大騒ぎになった時のことを思い出してください。事件のことを金蔵さんに伝えたいけれど、いくら電話しても出てくれない。その時のことです。
とにかく連絡が取れんのはまずいとちゃうか。下手したらお父さん事件が起こってることさえ知らんのやでなあ。
さあ、どうでしょう。
Keenly noticing that people were starting to doubt Kinza's existence, Kanon mumbled his words.
最後にお父様に会ったのは誰？いつ？
私です。昨夜、バトラ君が黄金を見つけたと騒ぎになる直前まで、お父様の書斎で一日の報告をしておりました。
昨夜の23時頃ですね。
I see. It's the way Natsu responded. She knew she was the last one to see him. I mean, granted, I wouldn't say that is a slip up or anything. I mean, it was pretty late. And she probably thought that no one would come in to talk to Kinzo after Natsu. Maybe Kinzo went to bed afterwards. And it got chuckled significantly.
それが何だというのですか。バカバカしい。
多分キリエさんも狙って振ったんだと思います。そうですね。振ったとはどういう意味でしょうか。
ひょっとすると誰か引っかかるかと
思って。そうですね。ありがとうキリエさん。実はあの発言はあなたがなさらなければ私がするつもりでおりました。
最後に親方様に会ったのは誰かという質問に、そんなにも意味があるというんですか。
はい、状況的に考えて最後に会ったのは誰という質問に対し、夏日さんが私ですと即答するのはとても不自然なんです。
どうしてですか。奥様は包み隠さず真実を。
静かに。それがどう不自然だというのですか。
どうしてあなたは23時以降金蔵さんが誰とも会わないと確信できるのですか。
それはお休みになられたのを見届けたからです。普通に考えればその後朝までお休みになられ、誰とも会われないだろうと考えるのは自然なことです。
状況的に考えて最終目撃者は何かの関与を疑われかねませんでした。普通の人間なら夏日さんと同じ立場だった時は 最後に会ったのは私です。
Maybe because she wasn't really expecting herself to be suspected for anything by that. Erika.
23時に会いましたとは言いません。ですね、キリエさん。
ええ、そうよ。普通の人間だったなら23時に会ったのは私です。しかし私が最後に会った人間かどうかは分かりませんになるわ。
グッと最終目撃者だと名乗ることは普通困難なんです。自分が目撃した後に誰も目撃できないと確信できる理由をご存知でない限り。三流ミステリーですと最終目撃者は大抵犯人で、自分が殺したのだからその後には誰とも会えるわけがないと、こういう論法で進むわけですが。
そんなのちょっとした言葉の言い違いではありませんか。
True. I mean, not gonna dismiss what you're saying. It sounds logical. It's just that, well, humans, they are not experts in communication to the point where every single word they say is calculated and logical. You cannot say with 100% certainty that it is a slip of the tongue for the sake of hiding something. I just think that there needs to be more than that.
そんなに目くじらを立てて取り立てるほど。
そうだそうだ、そんなのは揚げ足取りだ。そんな言葉尻だけで夏日さんを疑うのはちょっと早とちりなんじゃないかね。
それに誰も目撃できないと確信できる理由とあなたはおっしゃいますが、それももちろんあるではありませんか。奥様は親方様がお休みになるところを見届けられてから退出されたのです。常識的に考えて翌朝まで誰とも会わないだろうと考えるのは自然なことです。
いいえ、それが全然自然なことじゃないんです。何しろ夏日さん、南條先生、そして熊沢さんの3人がついさっきこう証言されました。これもどうぞ思い出してください。
最後に会ったのは夏日姉さんよね。昨夜の11時頃。それ以降に書斎を抜け出してどこかへ行ってしまったということなのかしら。
それはでもお父様は気まぐれな方。唐突に夢で啓示を受けたと言い出して深夜に起き出してお屋敷の中を歩き回るようなこともよくありました。そうですよね、南條先
生。確かにそういうこともありましたな。とにかくその気まぐれな方だなあ、熊沢さん。
そうですわね。何かおかしな夢でも見て寝床を抜け出したのかもしれませんね。よくあることでございますとも。
ああ、じい様が深夜に突然寝床を抜け出すこともよくあったと証言してるな。
グッとバトラさん、なかなかの記憶力です。つまり夏日さんをはじめとした後宮本家の方々は金蔵さんが深夜に気まぐれに起き出して徘徊する可能性があり得ることをよくご存知でした。そしてそれはよくあることだと認識されていました。
おかしいじゃない。お父様がよく夜中に徘徊することがあると知っていながら朝まで寝床を絶対に抜け出さないなんて確信できるわけがないわ。
I guess so. In which case you're saying that Natsuhi should have responded with, well, I may have been the last one to see him at 11 o'clock, but don't count on that cause sometimes he may wander out by himself. Now, it is a better reasoning that you're creating. That is, you are creating ground for that. A more solid ground than he did before. I mean, if Natsuhi were to be told by Kinzo that he would not leave specifically that night, and Natsuhi would be 100% convinced that he would not wander at night at that point. And that would have been a thing. But Natsuhi did say that he might have wandered around, meaning that there was no certainty in her mind that he would stay in his study. And if I were to go with my own idea, Natsuhi should have said at this point, that, oh, but Kinzo did tell me that he would not wander that night at that point. But nah, she did not say that.
ねえ。
確かに三流ミステリーだな。よくラストの5分で犯人がいつから自分が犯人だと分かってたのかと聞くと、探偵が答えそうなシチュエーションだ。
ですよね。だからげんなりしてます。これで本当に夏日さんが犯人だったらお茶の間ミステリー以下ですから。だから私、夏日さんの疑いを真っ先に晴らしたいんです。このミステリーが三流じゃないってことを一番最初に確かめたくて。
焦ることはないぞ夏日。探偵気取りお得意の言葉遊びよ。だからなんだというのか。この発言だけでそなたをどう追い詰められるというのか。地獄の法廷とて陪審員の悪魔たちは全員そなたの無罪に投じるわ。だからうろたえず落ち着くのだ。
確かにそういう風に言われりゃ夏日おばさんが不審そうにも見えるさ。だが俺にはただの揚げ足取りにしか聞こえねえぜ。
True. I mean, Kinzo wandering at night is considered genuine knowledge by everyone who knows him. It's not really conclusive evidence that shows that she's actually hiding something. I still think that there needs to be more.
でも怪しいわ。夏日姉さんが何かを隠してるかもしれないと疑うきっかけには十分だと思うけれど。
全くの言いがかりです。それに卑怯ですよ、エヴァさん。私が23時に確かにここにいたことは他ならぬあなたが証明できるではありませんか。
そうなんですか、エヴァさん。
あら、そうだったかしら。ごめんなさいね。何しろあの時は黄金が見つかったと気が動転していたから。今の今まで夏日姉さんに会ったの忘れていたわ。
Now why the hell did you not mention this before?
エヴァさんが夏日さんが23時の目撃者であることを証明できるのですね。
ええ、残念なことにね。夏日姉さんの言い分を一部は認めることができるわ。この部屋から出てきたということだけはね。
何が言いたいのですか。
私が言いたいのはこういうことよ。いいえ、ずっと前から言いたかったの。こんな悲惨な殺人事件の真っ最中にこんなことを言い出すのは本当に場違いだと分かっているけれど、今がちょうどいいタイミングだから言わせてちょうだい。 わかってるわよね、夏日姉さん。
And the servants gulped and held their breaths. It seemed that they hadn't been able to hide it, after all. In the middle of the heavy silence, Eva fingered her trump card, and Natsuki pretended to be calm. Both space and time grew as heavy as lead, and swallowed up everything.
金蔵さんっていつからいらっしゃられないんですか？
Erika's words, spoken almost casually, tore that atmosphere to pieces like shattering glass.
はっきり言うと、俺たちは今年はおろか、去年の親族会議でさえ会っちゃいねえ。
Oh boy, here we go again.
そうや、わしらは去年の時点から疑っとった。息子たちが殺されたこんな時にこんなことを追求するのは場違いかもしれんとは思っとる。だがひょっとしたら事件と関係があるかもしれんから今追求させてもらうで。
夏日姉さんたちにはお父さんの死を隠す動機があり得るの。お父さんの財産を横領しているかもしれない嫌疑よ。
もしお父様が死ねば財産分配のために調査が行われ、横領は白日のもとにさらされるわ。だからあんたはお父様がすでに亡くなっているのを隠しているのよ。
なるほど、ホワイトニットは十分というわけですか。ますますにもって三流です。
Oh boy. Can't wait to hear Erika's reasoning on this one.
ああ、つまらない。
何を言っているのかわかりません。私が当主様の死を隠していると。
I mean, you surely cannot jump to conclusion when it comes to the why done it. You surely cannot.
そんな暴言断じて許せません。
そうですとも。奥様だけでなく日頃から他の使用人たちも親方様のお世話をし、その姿を見ていますとも。源氏さんやシャノンさんやカノン君や南條先生に熊沢さんだってよくお会いしている。私は信頼がないのか昨年からずっと姿をお見かけしていませんが。
黙りなさい、ゴーダ。
へえ、申し訳ございません。
夏日さん以外の目撃者はすべて御用関係にある使用人だけではありませんか。金を握らせて口裏を合わせたなんて、はあ、本当に三流。くだらないくだらない。がっかりですよ、夏日さん。だからもう断じてしまおうと思います。
何をですか。
後ろ宮金蔵さん。
何か招かれざる客人よ。
あなたは存在していませんね。遺産問題であなたの死を知られたくない人間たちによってその死を隠蔽された暴亡霊は亡霊らしくとっとと現世を立ち去るべきです。初めてお会いしたのにご挨拶もまだでしたね。これは申し訳ない。はじめまして、こんにちは。そしてさようなら。
That was Pipe. Stopped mere millimeters from Erika's face. So close that you might just barely have been able to wedge a single sheet of paper between them. Ogo no Majo. Beatrice.
そしてこんにちはだ。後ろ宮家顧問錬金術師黄金のベアトリーチェ。そなたの喧嘩ここよりはわらわが買い取ろうぞ。
Indeed. Beatrice, Erika. Erika, Beatrice.
どうもはじめまして。 このゲームの探偵フルドエリカです。よろしくお見知りおきを。そしてこれからさようなら。
そなたがエンジェの次のベルンカステル教の駒であるか。あやつとは結局満足に戦えなくて残念だった。今度こそ手合わせできて嬉しいぞ、ベルンカステル教の駒。
我が主は全能にして万能。間抜けならあなたとは比べ物になりません。どうかよろしくお手合わせを。
冷静よの。こうして魔女が登場してこれから魔法やファンタジーで戦おうというのにな。バトラ程度ならこんなのミステリーじゃないって泣きわめいて土下座しているところだぞ。
ああ、ミステリーでも最近はそういう異世界もポピュラーですので。メタ的な空間から安楽室に座って推理を行う探偵さん、あなたはご存知で？
時代交渉をわきまえよ。その作家のデビューは来年だ。
魔女のくせに細かいこと気にしますね。
魔女と対等のつもりか。うぬぼれるな、この人間風情が。
Gato snapped her fingers, and something bounced around the room at terrifying speeds. What? It was the witch's stake. The witch's wedge which contained the power of the blue truth within it. Blue truth? Wait, what? Of course, a mere human like Erika couldn't follow its turbo speed with her eyes. Erika understood this. So she didn't attempt to look every which way, stupidly trying to spot it.
ノロマが食らうがいい。
With a terrible sound, Lilith's first blue stake buried itself into Erika's right collarbone. And it shot all the way through and out of her back. Spinning as she rebounded off the walls, Lucifer landed in front of Battle and disappeared, laughing shrilly. Erika wasn't blown back. However, a blue wedge was stuck deeply into her.
これが青き真実とやらですか。では、ご考説を賜ります。
She is quite a resilient one.
23時に夏日が金蔵に出会った可能性を否定はできぬぞ。その後、そなたらが書斎に押し入るまでの6時間以上もの間、金蔵はいくらでもこの書斎を抜け出す余地があった。以上により、金蔵が存在しないとそなたに断言はできぬわ。
Gato announced that with an expression worthy of her title as a witch. Erika, on the other hand, was silent. Was she too shocked to speak? There was no anguish in her expression. She was just quietly listening to Bato's blue truth. No, judging by her disdainful expression, it would probably be more appropriate to say that Bato's words went in one ear and out the other.
グッと。まずは王道です。硬いですね、これ。抜けない。
She tried pulling from the front and back of the blue edge that pierced her, but it didn't budge an inch. However, her indifferent, relaxed expression didn't budge an inch either.
抜けぬわ。青き真実は赤き真実によってしか打ち破れぬ。この島にやってきて一日を経たかどうかの客人であるそなたに理解しうる真実など存在せぬ。そんなそなたに使える赤など存在しないのだ。
Bato? Are you absolutely sure about that?
つまりはチェックメイト。
なるほど。 ここはそういう空間ですか。なら魔女と戦うにふさわしい駒が必要ということですね。私は探偵。人間の犯人を相手にするのを役目としましょう。あなたは魔女。魔女やら悪魔やらを相手にする役目ならふさわしい駒がいます。
Oh? Wait, what? Why, you're just gonna exit the battle and let your beloved master Ben Costello continue the fight? Well, that is lame.
ご紹介しましょう。ミス・ドラノール。
Miss... Wait, what? Dianor?
あなたの出番のようです。
ドラノール。
やっぱりね、いつか絶対に持ってくる駒だと思ってたわ。魔女を狩る銃のくさび、魔女狩り大司教ドラノール。
悪魔との戦いにこれほどふさわしい駒はいないわ。
Dianor? Are you kidding me? Right now you're gonna introduce another piece?
私の分身たるエリカに魔女の最大の天敵ドラノール。私は2つのルークで今やセブンスランクを支配したわ。見せてもらうわよ、ラムダデルタ、そしてベアトリーチェ。あんたたちの無駄なあがきよね。
The air shone brightly, and the piece Erika had guided there showed its form. It was a form that resembled a cleric, perfect for confronting an evil witch.
はじめまして、ドラノール・エノックスと申します。
Nox!